everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. So today is one of my sigh of relief days. Yesterday I got all of the videos out. I got all of the Try It class. I do 2 big events during the year. Well, they're done multiple times a year, but I do Try It classes, which is when new catalogs come out. Those are huge classes. Those are my biggest classes. I have the most people participate, and there are 10 projects, and the 10 projects have multiple pieces of papers and embellishments and ribbons. So it's a large class. And then I do retreats 3 times a year. This year, I think I'm going to modify those a little bit. So whenever those are out the door, shipped, PDFs done, videos posted, everything done, I always call the next day my sigh of relief. So they were posted on Saturday, and then all of the stuff emailed, all the links up, everything yesterday on Martin Luther King Day. So today is a sigh of relief. But I wanted to do, got shadows. It's not very sunny out today. I wanted to get this video done because this next online class never is big. So, but the registration for it does end this week. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware of it. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. Usually when I do a project for you, I have one already done. There isn't one done because I have like 100 of them in my mind. This particular class is focusing on the Horizons paper, and there are so many things that you can do with it that I'm hoping I can just wing it. And I'm not going to just do one. I'm going to do 4 projects for you. Unless one of them, if we get to the end and you only see 3 and I edit one out, it's because one didn't turn out the way I'm hoping. But they're all they're in my head, and I have tons of them. So this next online class that you can sign up for, registration ends this week, and then it should ship out by the end of the month. So let me just tell you a second what I'm going to use, and then kind of what the class is. So in the class, it's kind of a mini retreat because back order issues and supply chain issues this year being what they are, and they expect them to maybe get a little worse before they get better. So I'm going to do a couple of my online classes instead of a big retreat where we do lots of stamp things and lots of focus. This way I can kind of maneuver what we're using. So this one's focusing on the paper, and then you can either pick just to get the card supplies, or you can pick one of the stamp sets that we're using, or both of the stamp sets that we're using, or neither. You can just get the videos, especially if you're overseas, or you can get both, but either way you'll get to see the videos for both. So we're focusing on the Horizons paper. Then you can get the On the Horizons bundle, or you can get the Grassy Grove bundle, or you can get both. If you get both, it's a better deal and you get some free stuff. So all of that's on there. So I'm going to do 2 cards now, and I'm going to use I think that I did it. Like I said, it's sigh of relief day, and sometimes I'm a little bit unorganized. I still have a lot of the Try It stuff need to clean up, but I wanted to get this done. So I'm going to use On the Horizon. Both of them have fabulous, fabulous dies. Oceanfront also goes really well. It mixes with these and Grassy Grove, but I went with the ones that both had dies. So you do need a die cut machine to participate in this class, but it's celebration. If you don't have a die cut machine, this is the time to get it because you'll get free stuff when you get it, because it's celebration, and for every $50 or $100 that you spend, you get something free. So I don't know which one of these to start out with, and like I said, I'm hoping that they turn out well. So I have at least pre-cut the paper. So for this one, I'm going to try to do as well 2 that are kind of winter themed and 2 that are kind of summer themed. And they're all going to be very simple. If you do the class, we'll do a couple of simple ones, and then we're going to take it up a notch and use some of the 3D builder kind of things, because the Grassy Grove has a frame and the On the Grove has some builderscapes. I'm not going to do that, obviously. If you're doing 4 cards in one video, it's got to go a little faster. So for this one, I have cut it 4 by 5 1/4. So you can see on this one, you could choose if you want to do a summer or a winter. But, you know, a funny thing is I have a friend that lives in North Carolina. Hi, Heather. And she's always giving us a hard time about our Indiana winter weather. We haven't had any. Like, we've just had dustings of snow. And I know some of you down in the South, you're getting hit. We haven't been hit yet. But because it is winter, I'm going to do this first one as a winter card. So let's do this one. It's going to be super simple because I want to show you that if you want to get together with friends and just make some cards, or if you just want to like make gift sets for people and just have cards ready, this is a perfect bundle because this paper and these dies do all the work for you. So this is Misty Moonlight, and then I've cut this, and then this is from our gold metallic pack. I'm just gonna put the little deer dies on here and run these through. I laid a bunch of different colors on, and then I was like, stop, you're trying to make these fast. This is all of the little bits of paper are just scraps that I've had laying around on my desk. And then what I really like to do with this paper, and I may do it on every card, we'll see. Oh, look how pretty they are. They're just really, really pretty deer. Like, they're really pretty deer. Aren't they pretty? They're just very, very pretty. But what I like to do to this paper is I like to put it in the Tasteful Textile folder. And I did consider doing them all at once, because if you're doing these, don't do them one at a time. But because of the way I have my stuff stacked up, I'm afraid I'm going to get confused since I haven't made these before and not know what goes with what. So I'm going to put this through. It's a 3D folder, but it makes the paper, it takes it from being magnificent as it is to kind of looking like it's watercolor. So look how pretty that is. It just takes it up a notch. So this card's going to be super simple. I only have ribbon on one of them. I do have embellishments on all. So let's put this one together and see how we like it. Now you could layer it, but the thing with layering these is then you lose some of the paper. So this one's just going to be super simple. I'm going to stick this on here. Now when you have put designer series paper through an embossing folder, I think it works best to put your adhesive on your cardstock, because sometimes when you roll it on here, then it can rip the paper. So this just looks like a fun, oops, that's a little crooked, but we're okay. We'll see. It's because it can rip this. Oh, it's not too bad. I didn't push too terrible hard yet. I don't want my first card to be crooked. The seal plus would be stuck. The seal doesn't stick for a few seconds. So there we go, that's a little bit better. And then let's pop our little deers up so they're raised up. I'm gonna put the little baby deer in the back. So let's just use adhesive and stick baby deer down. And then let's get a little miniature. Oh, I thought I had them laying here. Maybe I moved them. Maybe I forgot that I needed baby dimensionals. These are the mini dimensionals. And I'm gonna put 2 on the mama deer. I'm trying not to talk fast. You know, when you know you're gonna do 4 cards, I know this is gonna be a little bit long, and I know it's winter, and I know it's COVID, and sometimes people are leaving not nice comments on my YouTube things, but I have to check them all, so if they leave not a nice one, then I just take them off. And I just give them the benefit of the doubt that either their mom didn't teach them not to say nice things, but sometimes they don't like that I talk. I don't know if they just want me to sit here in silence while I stamp. But I know too that if I'm making 4, it's gonna take a minute. So these are our faux sea glass shapes. Now there's not gonna be any sea glass on our winter scene, but if you use these white ones, it looks like ice. So there can be a little bit of ice down here that has cracked. Hopefully our deer aren't gonna fall through, but it's just gonna give it a little bit of texture. That way I don't have to have any ribbon. I'm not gonna put any words on this one, and I'm gonna put 5. Because you want an odd number. And just put these across the bottom. And it just kind of builds it up. You could put some out here by the, and I will put up close pictures on my blog of all of these so you can see a little bit closer. There's one, super easy. And the paper does all the work. These fun little sea glass. Now let's call them ice chips. So those are some ice chips on our little deer cards. So there's one done. This one's gonna have a couple more steps on this next one, and we're gonna go spring. We're gonna die cut on this one too. So in this one, I have pulled out one of the pieces of paper that looks a little bit more summer. Maybe a whole lot more summer. This is polished pink. And I have cut this piece 4 by 5 1/4. So it's cut a little bit longer, or a little bit narrower this way, because I was able to get enough of the pattern that I liked this direction. And then this one uses the On the Horizons. The other was the Grassy Grove. And then I have pulled out the Mountainscape, and this is a little piece of our in color shimmer vellum. And then this is just white cardstock. And let's see. Oh, I pulled everything out. I was gonna do whatever I did last. So this is closer. So let's put this through. And you can see this is warping a little bit, and it's warping because I've used it in an online class. So to get rid of the warp, the best thing is to start flipping it back and forth. And sometimes when my husband helps me, bless his heart, he just keeps sending it through the same way over and over. So if yours starts to warp, more than likely yours won't, unless you're doing it for like Christmas cards or something, or wedding invitations where you're making a whole lot. Look how much difference that makes. It just makes it look, it takes it up a whole notch. Super pretty. And then let's cut these out. Well, actually, I'm going to send this white piece of paper through as well. So let's put a little bit of texture on what's going to end up being our fence. And see, this is, it doesn't do anything to it unless it gets so bad. I've never seen one so bad you can't use it, because as soon as you put this on there, it closes it. So your folder still works. So don't feel like it's ruined it. Even I've had a couple in the past where people, you always want to send it through this way. If you send it through the other way, it can snap this. Even then you can duct tape it together. So now we've got a little bit of texture on what's going to be our fence. If you don't have a die cut machine, or you feel like you never know exactly what plate order to put it in, I do have a how-to. I kind of walked you through all the steps. I have a how-to for the folders and a how-to general for the machine, which gives you lots of tips and tricks. I have a how-to for the dies, but I made it in December and it has not been posted yet. Just super busy. So here's the mountains and now our fence. And let's send these through. You only take one pass. Let's move this out of the way. Make sure I don't knock anything on the floor. Okay, so we have this. So the fence makes a great like beach entrance. This is just going to be kind of like for a pasture. We went to Wisconsin a couple of years ago. Not there's no mountains in Wisconsin, but they kind of remind me of when we would do some hikes up on the lake, because we were there in the spring. So let's pull these out. Now that has some fun textures. And you see this just kind of gives an outline. I didn't want to cover up all of the pretty background, and I don't want it to look like, I want an illusion of mountains, right? And here's our fence. Now, I don't want the fence to be white. So just a real quick little step that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take my soft suede. I debated, because like I said, I haven't made this card. I'm gonna squish the lid down, because I wasn't sure if I wanted crumb cake or if I wanted soft suede. So we're gonna go with suede. I'm gonna just get a little bit with our water painter, really water it down. And just kind of brush that over it, just to give it a little bit of, there's no meadow out in nature that has a perfect white picket fence like that. There you go. And so it tones it down just a little bit. It also kind of picks up a little bit of that texture, so you can kind of see it a little bit better. Just like that. Just one little extra step, and it just adds that much more to your project. Now there is a fill-in for this, so if you want to fill it in, I'm trying to decide, do I want to fill that in, or do I kind of like that? Maybe I'll fill it in. So let me grab the other die, and we'll overlap those. I didn't want it to look like snow. That was what I was trying to avoid, with snow. So let me run this piece through, and then I'll show you what that does. I can overlap these just like that. So I'm going to use some glue to put this one together. So let's get our polished pink. This is an in color, and of course it's the same color as the vellum. I'm going to pop this down because I'm going to put some accents on here with some glue. I don't want the card to be bouncing up. So again, I'm going to put my adhesive here. not gonna put any ribbon or any words on the front of this one. You could, if you wanted to stamp words onto your background, I would do it before you put it through your embossing folder. And I'm gonna grab my fine tip glue. Let's start with our mountains. So do your back piece first. This vellum has just a tiny, tiny bit of shimmer to it. And I'm gonna kind of do it right here. So it could be water. It could also be, in my mind, it is spring flowers. That's kind of filling up the back. Just add. This glue is not in the catalog, but we do sell it. You have to get it online for the code, or you can ask me for the code, or you can go to the bottom of this video or on my website and I'll have the little link for it. It comes in my adhesive pack. If you do any of my online classes, then you can get an adhesive pack, and I do include it because I like it better than the green glue. I'm gonna pop that down just for a second because it's got such a fine tip on it. So it's good for things like this. Just hold that down till it grabs. Let's put that on there while it grabs. Got the one side to pick up. And then we'll put our fence on. And that you'll want to make sure that you put your pickets at the top. And not everyone needs glue. About every other. And then I'm going to have them go off the edge of my paper, right to the edge of the card. And then again over here, make sure your pickets go to the top, every other. And I'll get an up-close picture of that painting on that too, because it makes a huge difference. You need a tad more glue on this because the vellum, that shimmer coating, put that there. We'll get this to stick. This is one of those things. That's why I like to use the glue in real life. The seal I often use on my videos just because it's instant. We'll stick that there for just a second. Then I am going to use, these are new, these are in the catalog. They are our butterfly embellishments. Now, with these, they're super heavy. So if you don't have them yet, everybody in the Try It Club has them. They're heavier than what you think. And sometimes, you know, like when you scrape something with an envelope or another card touches it, they have a tendency to fall off. You can see one's already fallen off here. In the Try It class, I suggested if you already have your glue out, I would go ahead and glue them. They'll hold a little bit better. They do have an adhesive on the back. I just think that if you're gonna put something this beautiful on a card, go ahead and glue it. It'll just hold nicer. There, that's starting to hold now. So I'm gonna pull this one off, and it's because they're thick. And so the stuff's just, like when I'm laying another packet of embellishments here, it's just grabbing it. So I'm gonna put 3 on here. Oops. So just grab this, add a dot of glue. This is my spring card. Spring's coming, right? That one's upside down. I don't have my pick tool laying here because I had so much stuff for 4 cards on the table. Lay that one there. So here's 2 of the little ones. I know, I just put glue on my scissors. I'm gonna wipe it right off. And then let's get one of the big ones. I'm gonna let this one do its adhesive, and then when I'm done, I'm gonna pull that off and add the glue. So there's that. So it's pretty just as is, but I really wanted to add some flowers. And since I already have the glue out, and these match beautifully, these are our loose flower flourishes, and they're in the annual catalog, but look how pretty these are gonna be. So these, again, they need glue because they are not self-adhesive. So I'm just gonna add 3 drops of glue. And then I'm gonna pull out all 3 colors because they're almost in the paper. Again, I have not made this card, so we'll hope it looks cute. In my mind, it's very cute. Get the big one in pink and then the other 2 colors in the papaya and the freesia. And it just adds that little bit of spring to the card. Oh, I like it. I don't think I need this glue for anything else, but it has this nice little needle tip so it never dries up. And that is super cute. So now we have a winter and a spring. This one's with the Grassy Grove and this one's with the On the Horizons, both with the same paper pack. Now let's do a much more simple one. This one doesn't have any die cut. I don't think the next two have die cut. I am going to put them through the folder just because I think it makes a huge difference. Okay, now we're getting far enough away from what I have laid here that I hope I remember what I wanted it to look like. So this one, this piece of paper kind of looks like this, the whole thing. So I cut it 4 by 4, and then this is Blackberry Bliss, and then this is Smoky Slate. So for it, I'm going to take the trees. These are from Grassy Grove, and I'm going to take the blackberry, and I have no scrap paper. So I'm going to take, well, here, let me pull the scrap paper. The Try It class doesn't have any stamping. So although I have been working a lot, I haven't done any actual, I did put a couple of, of words on some cards. I made one card, Easter card accidentally. So I'm gonna ink up the trees that come in this set. If there's one thing that Stampin' Up! Can never be able to make too many of because I love them, it's the pine trees. So just put these here. Do we need more? I think that's kind of pretty. And then I'm going to mount, yeah, I am going to put those through the folder. So I'm going to put these through. You don't need to see it because you've seen it a couple of times. I'm just going to put this straight through. It's that much the watercolor effect on it. Watercolor paper, I guess. Now I'm going to mount this onto the blackberry piece. And it just makes those trees kind of pop. This again, there was a place in Wisconsin where we would go in the evenings for the sunset, and this kind of reminds me of where we would stand in the evenings. Okay, now I'm going to take this. There are some words, but now that I have them, I guess they'll fit down there. I'm not quite sure because, you know, when you haven't made these cards before, we'll get them on there. I was going to put some twine on it too. We may get the twine to fit. Let's see. This is an inside, outside card words. I'm just going to do the outside and then I'll tell you. It says sometimes you need to know that someone really cares. And then it says that someone is me. That goes on the inside. You can stamp your inside. Like this, so it goes flat. Now this is kind of, it's not really a sympathy card. It could be a sympathy card. I'm going to take the gray twine. It could just be, you know, somebody, we've had another rough week with family and friends. We've had another death. We've had my sister-in-law's having some hard things happen in her family right now. So sometimes, you know, it's not, sympathy can be a death, or it can be, you know, just kind of thinking of you, but a step more than just thinking of you. So I don't want this to have like a bow and be super flouncy, but you know, it's winter, and sometimes even in summer, if you're doing a sympathy card, winter kind of has that feeling to it. So let's mount this on here. Just like that. And then I'm going to take, these are our iridescent rhinestones. I don't want them to be on there for like iridescence, but I'm going to take one of the large ones and have it kind of stand in for the sun or the moon. And just put that up there. And then just so these kind of, the trees stand out a little bit more, I'm just going to take my Wink of Stella, and again, it just kind of adds to that winter effect, and it kind of highlights them a little bit more. Kind of gives them a little bit of frost. I'm not going to do it to the words, especially up here where the kind of the blackberry goes over the top of the blackberry. It highlights the fact that there's a tree there. So there's this one. So that one's super simple. Now we're gonna do another one. This is the one that I'm a little bit unsure of, but we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna do all stamping on this one. And this one we are going to go back to On the Horizons. This one I've cut the paper, as you can see, 4 5 1/4 landscape. This is mint macaron, and it is cut long ways just because that's what was laying on my table. So I used to do those a lot, what was laying on my table. I haven't done one of those cards in a long time, but this one ended up being, because a lot of this stuff was just what was laying on my table. So you can see it's kind of picked up this color here. So let's see what we can stamp on here and hope for the best. Grab this over here, and I'm going to stamp first, and then I will run it through the die cut machine just for the folder. So I'm going to take the mint and use these foreground leaves to kind of give some depth up here in the front. We'll do them over here in the corner. And then just a little bit more, just kind of fill it in. There are some dies that do that same thing. It just kind of gives this a little bit of depth. Then there's some trees. I'm going to go back to my Blackberry Bliss that I just used on the other card. And I'm going to try to aim for up here. Now, these are not photopolymer stamps. And sometimes, you know, we get really used to having photopolymer stamps, and I didn't want to pull out my Stamparatus. So we're going to see how easy it is to just kind of line these trees up. Yep, that worked. Let's see if we can do it again. Let's see if we can push our luck and get those lined up again back there. Move it a little bit closer to me. And again, there's some dies that will do the trees as well. So that wasn't as hard as I thought. You can use this little line down here and kind of line it to the landscape. So I've got those two. And then there's some birds. So we've done these two colors. And I'm gonna do the birds in the fresh freesia just because I want them to be seen back there, but I don't want them to be a focal point. And this is just another really simple card. If you have a friend that you're trying to teach how to stamp, this would be a fun card for them. So there's that. I'm going to send it through the folder. Again, you don't need to see that. You've seen that. So here it adds that little bit of watercolor effect. So it looks like it's been done on watercolor paper. We'll add this to that. Now this one I was a little bit unsure on the embellishments. So we'll see what we like. Now there are die cuts. You could put the fence on this one, just one fence. This one I'm just going to go for a simple, show you how the stamps work with it. So let's see, I pulled these out. These are the resin stars. Obviously you lay these resin stars on here and it does not look like they go at all. But I thought maybe if we pulled out the teeny tiny yellow ones, which I'm thinking are crushed curry. You would think that I remember this was the very last card that we did in Try It class. And I could probably also get some of that twine on here as well. You could add a little tag. Maybe I'll add a little tag for a saying on it. That would work. Just add some stars up here in the sky just to give it a little bit of something, something. So let's see what the words are. And this one is the On the Horizons. So we have the breathe. We have the thinking of you, wishing you so much happiness. Let's do thinking of you, which is this one. I don't have my stickers on any of them. I've been so busy I can't even put stickers on my stamps. So let me mount this and then I'll come back. Okay, so I just pulled a piece. I don't even know if this is the back. I don't think that's the back of this one. It's the back of one of the other ones that I just cut. So let's get the blackberry because that'll show up nicely. Let's stamp this. I'm going to go for the piece that's got the least amount of blue in it. I'm just going to hand trim this out. So I do want it to have something a little more, but I don't want it to be, I don't want to detract from the scene. So we've got this. Now where do we put our twine? So let's lay this on here. Take our twine. I don't want an end. You don't want an end to show, but let's kind of just, you want to make sure it all hits so you don't have anything that comes undone later. And again, you want to have the end when you finally finish also be wrapped up in here. So let's try this. We may need to move it. So stick that end in there. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna do a little bit closer. I wasn't sure if I wanted to wrap any of it up around the words or just leave them. I've got this cut out. So let's grab our glue since we've got it handy. Just add a strip of glue there. I'll put that lid back on in a second. And again, I'm gonna need a second for this to stick. There we go. So now let's see all 4 of the cards that were only in my head before we started. This one changed up a tiny bit, not terribly. I got the stamping where I needed it. The rest of them were all pretty much how I expected them kind of to turn out. So there's those 2. So if you're interested in joining me for my online class, the cards will be a little bit more in-depth because we will use the dies a little bit more to their advantage. But you do get a whole pack of the paper. So there are different ways you can participate, all online. But no matter which bundle you choose, you'll get the videos for all. So you'll know how to make 8 projects by the end. So you can do both. You get both bundles, or just kind of then if you just choose to get one bundle, you can kind of make what you got work with the other one. So there you go. If you are not on my email list, then that's the best way to figure out how to participate in all of my online stuff, find out what my monthly thank you gifts are, and all of the above. Everybody have a great day. Bye.